A federal judge is now telling the Trump administration to temporarily restore funding for foreign assistance programs as legal challenges against his executive action now go through the courts. The White House will have 5 days to let money start flowing again to U.S. humanitarian aid and development work around the world. It's a big sigh of relief for the U.S. Agency for International Development, also known as USAID, that was left in disarray when funding was cut and other life-saving food and medical programs were brought to a standstill. Trump's 90-day pause in funding also threatened the program called the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. This multi-million-dollar program helps prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS in more than 50 countries. A recent New York Times op-ed highlights the importance of this program, the estimated 25 million lives it saves, and the plea from pro-life advocates to bring funding back. Leah Sargeant co-wrote that piece. She joins me now to discuss the impacts of losing that critical aid. Leah, explain what PEPFAR really is and the kind of help that it provides.
Absolutely. PEPFAR started under President George W. Bush. It saved 25 million lives to date. 8 million of them babies who would have been born HIV positive, but for the relief they and their mothers received. PEPFAR distributes antiretrovirals both to people already infected with HIV and to people at risk of infection. And the goal is to drive that viral load to zero so that a mother who's HIV infected when she starts her pregnancy can with confidence give birth to a baby who's going to draw life, not death, from her body.
And so I want to ask about how these funding cuts might be impacting that work in this program. There was a really powerful line in which you wrote, "It's an aching tragedy when a mother's body becomes a threat to her baby instead of its refuge." Say more about the impact that we're really seeing here on the ground.
Well, I think what you see is that even a temporary disruption is devastating for a parent. When you go in for a prenatal appointment, when you go into the clinic that's giving you the drugs that are making it safe for your baby to be in your body, and they say, well, we're giving them to you this week, but we'll have to wait to see if we get a waiver. No one's gotten one so far. We don't know if we'll have one when you're back. Now there's a stay on the cutoff of aid, but we don't know if that will be reversed on appeal or whether the administration will abide by the stay. They didn't initially for the stay on domestic funding. That mom is spending every moment of every day unsure if she can protect her baby. Before PEPFAR, babies who were born HIV positive who didn't receive treatment had a 50% chance of dying before they reached 2 years old.
Wow.
When they had the cold or the flu, that would be enough to take their life. It's PEPFAR that gives parents hope that whatever their diagnosis, they can get the help they need to raise their child.
So, Leah, what does this new judge's temporary order mean for PEPFAR? Will operations be fully restored?
I'm really glad to see the order, but I think it's early to know if it's going to have the impact I'd like it to have. And what I'd like to see is the State Department just unilaterally allow PEPFAR to continue its work without waiting for waivers, without waiting for stays, just going back to doing the excellent work they do. Because this stay doesn't solve every problem. 800 contracts at USAID have already been canceled. People have been laid off and paid severance because their agencies didn't have the money to keep paying their paychecks one more payroll. You can hit the emergency stop button, but even with a judge's order, there's no emergency start button here.
Okay, Leah, thank you.
Thank you so much.